What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, listen, this big news out of Sissonville, West Virginia, and it's involving these two people. These two people, I'm sure you remember the face if you've been sticking with me long enough. These two people are as follows. The man is Donald Lance, age 63, Sissonville, West Virginia. The woman with him is supposedly his wife, Jeannie Whitefeather, age 62, also out there in Sissonville. If these pictures of these two people look familiar, ladies and gentlemen, these are the people that adopted 5 black kids, siblings from Minnesota, and forced them into slave labor. They had them sleeping in the shed, locked them in at night. More information has come out. Reason why I'm bringing this up is Monday they go to trial. They said the trial's supposed to last 2 weeks. We'll see what the verdict is. But these people right here are the worst type of human beings imaginable. These kids range from their teenage years all the way down to 5 years old. It was 5 of them. One of the children, the youngest one, the 5-year-old little girl, was their favorite. A lot of this stuff came out in court because they're doing preliminary proceedings before they go to court on Monday. I'm going to show you a series of videos of all the information that was shown. You'll see video of the children, their living arrangements, and the way these people treated them. I don't give a damn what nobody say. This right here was some racist ass shit. And let's keep it real. Both of these people need a punishment fitting. And I'll tell you what it is at the end when I get back on here and give you my commentary. Here's the latest from court.
The couple charged with human trafficking and forced labor after adopted children were found locked in a shed in Sissonville is set to go to trial on Monday. But this morning, attorneys hashed out some of the pretrial details, and in the process, we learned some more about this case, as Anna Saunders has that story for us tonight. But we do want to warn you before we show you the story that some of the images that you will see are disturbing.
Jeannie Whitefeather and Donald Lance walked into their last hearing ahead of their Monday trial to go over some of the concerns about what evidence and what testimony will be allowed to go before a jury next week. One of those matters is about an investigation into alleged abuse involving Whitefeather and Lance's treatment of their 5 adopted children before they moved to Sissonville in 2023. According to adoption records, Whitefeather and Lance adopted 5 black siblings from Minnesota in 2018 and moved to Washington State in 2019. It has been the argument from Kanawha County prosecutors that the two targeted the children because of their race to use them for forced labor. And according to recent court filings from prosecutors, including pictures from Whitefeather's phone and videos from the surveillance cameras they kept on the children, the alleged abuse started in Washington and was even investigated by the Okanogan County Sheriff's Office and their Department of Children, Youth, and Families for a year before they moved to Kanawha County. According to the filing, they kept them on a large ranch in Washington, denying them bedrooms in the home and forcing them to work outside, where punishments included physical violence or the withholding of food. In 2 instances where 2 of the children tried to run away, the children told investigators Whitefeather would fire her gun at them.
And Mr. Lance's alleged act of striking the child with the PVC pipe, we know about that only because there's a picture of it on Miss Whitefeather's cell phone, taken from their surveillance cameras that they used in furtherance of all of their other acts to isolate and control the children.
In April of 2023, the two moved to Sissonville with the children, where court records say immediately after their arrival, neighbors began making reports to CPS about the children being forced to work on the property, stand for long periods of time, and use a porta potty in the yard. And then ultimately the report of children locked in a barn, which led deputies to the Sissonville home in October 2023, where Lance and Whitefeather were arrested and later handed a 20-count indictment, including human trafficking, child abuse, and using a minor for forced labor.
They think that conduct in Washington during that 6 or 7 years is intrinsic to their case. And I agree with them. On the other side of that is my client's conduct in response to that is highly relevant and highly probative.
In response, Whitefeather's attorney Mark Plants is hoping to paint a different picture with text messages, medical records, and witnesses at trial that the couple is not racist and did not target or abuse these children. He is not objecting to the use of the Washington records because he plans to use information from Washington too. So does Donald Lance's attorney John Belinovich, but he is objecting to the use of the Washington abuse investigation since charges were never filed there.
What they're doing is they're trying to take things from these records in Washington to fit their narrative.
Some other issues that could come up at trial, whether or not Whitefeather and Lance are actually married, which could prevent them from testifying against each other. If they are, we do expect to hear from the children at trial, and Plants indicated on Friday that the plan now is for Whitefeather to also take the stand.
There's so much, I can't understate how much evidence that there is that it was a common plan or scheme.
In Charleston, Anna Saunders, Eyewitness News.
And there was an attempt by Lance's attorney to have separate trials. Judge Mary Claire Akers ruled against that, so the two will remain co-defendants with one trial. The jury selection process is scheduled to begin on Monday, and they are expecting this trial to last about 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. We start with day 2 of testimony just wrapping up in the trial for the Sissonville couple who was arrested back in 2023 when 2 of their adopted children were discovered locked in a shed. Jeannie Whitefeather and Donald Lance are facing charges that include human trafficking and forced labor and child abuse. Anna Saunders is live now right now with a recap of what happened in court today. Anna, what can you tell us about this?
Well, Anthony, today we started watching days worth of home surveillance video in the days leading up to when police came to the home on October 2nd, 2023. But in that time period before, we see that we have 2 children who are in a room in the Sissonville home and then 2 teens who are in that shed. And what we learned is that during that time period, they hardly ever left those spaces. And when they weren't sleeping on the floor, they were made to stand for pretty much the entire day. Now, we've learned in trial that Whitefeather and Lance kept one security camera in the shed with the 2 teens and kept another in an upstairs room. This is where a 9-year-old and 11-year-old stayed with no furniture, just a tarp. The video is giving us a glimpse of their daily routine during this time period that started with them waking up at 4:30 in the morning after sleeping on the floor. In the shed, the 2 teens would hold up a sheet for each other while the other used the camper toilet. The rest of their days spent mostly in those rooms standing. At one point, when one of the teens sits down, Whitefeather then comes over the intercom on the camera and she stands back up. You also hear the younger kids ask for permission to leave the room to use the bathroom and brush their teeth. We've learned that the 14-year-old boy in the shed has several mental health disorders, as Detective Anna Pyle with the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office testified that his 16-year-old sister is there with him, served as his babysitter. This is her on the stand describing their sleeping conditions.
That the children in both rooms slept on the floor. The 2 in the barn area slept on the concrete floor with sleeping on a sleeping bag on the concrete floor, and slept with nothing underneath him other than a piece of cardboard under his head and had a fitted sheet that he would cover up with. And in the bedroom upstairs, they would sleep on that plastic that I had mentioned, but they did have some blankets that they would cover up with.
Now, in terms of what they ate, in the videos, we see the kids given what's believed to be peanut butter sandwiches during the day, but very limited things to drink, if anything. At one point, Lance tells the younger kids that if they don't finish the sandwich, they won't get anything else for the rest of the day. Now, trial is expected to continue tomorrow at 9 a.m., where the video will continue to play, and we expect to hear more from law enforcement, possibly maybe even the testimony from the children will begin. Anthony.
Anna, thanks a lot. And the bleeping that you're hearing in the video there at home, that's to mask the names of the children and protect their identities from court today. And Anna, we do know that as you watch the video of the 4 children in court today, Whitefeather and Lance also had a 5th child. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. The youngest child is 5 years old, but by all accounts, what we've heard so far is that she was always with Whitefeather, the mother, and that she seems, by what we've heard, to be the favorite of the bunch, that she was not subjected to what's being alleged so far. We plan to learn more about some of the dynamics of the household as the trial moves along, especially when we hear from those kids. Back to you, Anthony.
First here at 6 o'clock, we start with the moments that Kanawha County deputies made the discovery of two teens locked in a Sissonville shed, all captured on surveillance video that played for the jury today in court. We continue to follow the trial of Jeannie Whitefeather and Donald Lance, the couple accused of child abuse, human trafficking, and forced labor after two teens were found in that shed in 2023. Our Anna Saunders has been following the developments for us in court once again today, and she's live outside the Kanawha County Courthouse with the latest. Anna, what can you tell us?
Well, Anthony, we've spent the better part of the past 2 days in court watching 5 days of home surveillance footage from the cameras that Whitefeather and Lance kept on 4 of the children. These days all leading up to that October 2nd day when deputies arrived there at the shed. They began knocking on that door before they bust it down. Now, at this point in the evening of October 2nd, 2023, Whitefeather and Lance are not at the house and have 2 of the kids with them. So when deputies begin knocking at the shed, you see the 2 teens asking what to do next. We even see the teenage girl get in the surveillance camera and seem to try to get the attention of Whitefeather. She then begins talking there to deputies through the door and eventually the CPS worker who shows up. The teenage girl tells them that they are locked in there every day. Eventually, the deputies able to break through the locked door and get the 2 teens out. Eventually, the young girl inside the house in the tarp room is also brought out of the home as police begin to move through the house and shed, and the children are turned over to CPS. Now, after we got through the video, when Whitefeather's attorney Mark Plants cross-examined Detective Pyle, we started to learn some answers to questions we've had since the beginning of this about prior involvement of CPS and law enforcement before the discovery of the kids in the shed. Here is a little bit of what Pyle had to say.
When I first became aware of this in August, I would say in the week to follow, there were a couple attempts made. There was a contact made with a worker once, but there was no further contact to coordinate going and making a visit to the residents together. When you say unanswered to CPS, it was a specific worker.
Okay, that's fair. A CPS worker went unanswered. Is that true?
For some of the attempts at communication, yes.
Now, Plants asked Pyle if a CPS visit was made to the house in May of 2023. Pyle said she didn't know specific dates, but that one CPS visit was made while Whitefeather and Lance were in Sissonville. Now, a lot of new information coming out of court today. We're recapping all of it in much more detail over on our website. Anthony.
And this was a day where we thought we might start hearing from the kids. Where are we at right now in this process?
Well, Anthony, as you can imagine, it's very difficult for prosecutors and defense attorneys to really estimate when things will happen. We just don't know how long each testimony will take. So, of course, in the beginning, they thought this would be the day they would start bringing in some of the child victims, but that has not happened yet. It's seeming like that might happen tomorrow afternoon. But again, we still have a few more on the law enforcement side to get through. Anthony, back to you.
Guys, that's the story. These 2 people, Donald Lance, Jeannie Whitefeather. I don't want to hear shit. Saying race didn't play a part. They're talking about race didn't play a part and all this other stuff. Yeah, you targeted those kids because they were black. And in history, you've seen that black people work very well outside under horrendous conditions. And it's a part of American history that black people used to be slaves. Can't tell me you didn't know that. Because another part of proof is the way you treated them. You treated them like they were slaves. Fed them like they were slaves. Had them living like they were fucking slaves. I don't want to hear shit. They need to take both of these fat asses outside right now, post them, and beat them till their backs bleed, and they pass the fuck out, wake them up, and then incinerate them right there. That right there is fucked up. That's a part of history a lot of people trying to forget. A lot of people from that seeing that is a stark reality of what was a long time ago. Digging it back up, having a lot of people shell shocked, and for no damn reason. These people had a house in California, up and tried to sell the house after having them work on their land and stuff. You seen the pictures of when they was in California. Same shit. Then they moved to West Virginia. Bring the kids along, get this new place, all of a sudden, got them doing the same thing. So they just got there and people started complaining. You got these kids out here working under these conditions. People made complaints. Got them standing up when they ain't doing nothing. You got to stand up in your quarters, wherever you at. Just stand there. They got to hold the damn sheet out so the other one can use the bathroom because they're constantly being monitored on surveillance. Why you got to watch them anyway? Said she would shoot at them when they would try to run away from her. If that is not something that's akin to slavery and forced labor, child abuse, human trafficking, all the shit y'all charged with, why are we fucking around with it? Take them outside and do them dirty right now. Do them dirty right now. That's messed up. Listen, there are people that abuse, children are abused all the time. But when you see it with your own eyes, some of the stuff they go through, and it's not just the initial stuff that you saw. They were told if they didn't eat their food, they wouldn't get nothing else for the rest of the day. But you expect them to go out there and do your bidding. Here you 63, 62 years old. As people get older, they try to downsize in the living arrangement they had because as they get older, they can't no longer do all the physical labor. What did y'all do? Let's go adopt some black kids and then have them work out there. And we can have this lavish amount of land and all of our dreams could come true off the back of some kids that we're entrusted to love, protect, and make better people. You broke these kids. I remember when I first did this story, they said one child was missing because it was with the Jeannie Whitefeather and Donald Lance. That's the little girl that they said, from what they're hearing, she didn't succumb to any of that type of torturous abuse because she was a favorite. It's always a goddamn favorite. Said one boy had mental issues and the girl was his caretaker, his babysitter. You got them standing up there out there. First of all, these children, you wouldn't let them in the house. That reminds me of slavery. Second of all, you got them just a bucket to piss and shit in that they both got to share. You got a teenage boy and a teenage girl, both siblings, living in the same space when the girl needs her own space as she gets older, according to her sexuality. You had them both in the same place. Then on top of that, you get in court and everything you saying is not what it was. It looked like. You cannot tell me you didn't know fucking American history before you decided to adopt 5 black kids and then work 4 of them like fucking slaves and treat them as such. What kind of life is that? How you think that affects their growth and development? You didn't give a shit. They was just field hands, cheap labor, and somebody you could walk all over to make your fucking dumbasses feel good about everything that you accomplished with ease. Fuck that. Take them outside, take their heads off right now. Stupid. System failed. Didn't look up on them. They moved from one place to another. One had mental illness. Nobody was checking up on this shit. Where's BLM at? Yeah, you won't hear him in this because it ain't about a white police officer shooting some black dude or doing something stupid like that. And that's the thing. People pick and choose their battles to be righteous on. That's bullshit. This right here is the closest reality of something that we all thought about and heard in history, and you're seeing it right in your fucking face. These people are evil, and they showed it. Now they sitting in court. These officials, judging them. They about to go to court on Monday. We'll see what kind of turnout happens with this. Now I'm supposed to be going to Tyree Nichols' thing, the sentencing this week, depending on if everything works out, because the officer's supposed to be in court that they trying to fight and get an appeal of pushing this thing back, this sentencing, the inevitable. I don't know. So you can expect the update later on today or tomorrow. But either way, man, this is something right here that needs national attention because that should not happen nowadays. Shouldn't. These people should get fucked up right now. Punishment should fit the crime. You treat them like slaves, you should be punished like one. That's all I'm saying. Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. That live stream can't come fast enough tonight at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, y'all. See you in the next video. Take care.